It's 1:30 news. The time for facts is now. Good afternoon, I'm Clarinet Martin. I'm the runner, the head honcho, and the master of all things news. Joined alongside me today is my new co-host, Clive Freeloader. Say hello, Clive.
Oh, did it.
Now, Clive, I remember you from your T4 days. Could you give us a little bit more information about what that was like and what you can bring to the show because of it?
I once was on the same corridor as Steve Coogan.
That's outstanding.
It just whisked past me like a... It's a walking sound.
I see. Why did you choose this show, by the way, to make your big debut success?
It was the biggest payer.
I see, yes, we do have a massive salary.
Yeah, definitely. I think it helps that the tribunal case came off.
That was never technically proven in court. There was nothing to it. And don't let that little snippet of information put it down on any of what you hear here. We are completely factual, and everything here is completely genuine. Completely genuine. Completely. Your headlines for today. IKEA sofa contains traces of rocking horse. Steve McLaren to part company with his Dutch accent. Doctors fight to bring Daniel Day-Lewis out of character. And Justin Bieber offers Joan of Arc backstage pass. But first, the news. New forensic technology used in a High Court trial found the defendant's DNA guilty earlier today. The deoxyribonucleic acid that was found in the defendant's genetic code has caused the man to become a robber. Passing sentence, the judge ordered that the man was free to go, but his DNA will have to be confiscated.
The Squarebush factory in York is being forced to change the recipe to fruit pastels due to cutbacks. We haven't entirely nailed down what element the new gel is made out of, but we can tell you it's a feisty one and it does not like the human spine.
An update on this story will follow. Connell O'Connell is down in York City Centre watching the scene develop.
I'm standing here in York watching the scene develop.
Connell O'Connell there watching the scene develop. We just received a note about the new gel from the lab boys. Do not cover yourself in the fruit pastel gel. There is a small definite chance your blood will turn into kerosene. Very painful, but informative, or so I'm told. And finally, singing star Adele is thrilled today after her agent revealed she's finally caught up with The Pavement. The singer, who's been chasing The Pavement since 2008, says she's relieved the chase has come to an end, and that it was a real surprise when she managed to corner it in Tottenham, North London.
I was literally hovering above myself, laughing, like, oh my God, this is happening.
And now for a quick look at the weather.
How is it?
Windy.
Oh.
That's the main headlights for now. For the stories you need to know. I'm getting reports of breaking news, but shut up, news, I'm talking. On to something far less important, and helium is running out all over the world.
Surely that can't be right, Clarinet.
I'm afraid it is right, Clive, and it is also left. What sacrifices would you give to save our helium? Would you sell your back garden to make room for new mines? Donate your daughter's body to science? Have your dog go through surgery to produce nothing but noxious helium whenever he breaks wind?
I'm not sure I would do those things.
Well, that's good, because now you don't have to. I went down to Halifax to find out how bees are saving the day once again. Standing in the middle of Halifax beekeeping fields, where for over 4 months now, genetic scientists have been modifying honeybee DNA to create helium-infused bees. A government grant of over £6 million funded this research, and, as you can probably hear, these results are looking promising, which raises a very important question. What is a helium bee?
Well, these helium bees are a genetically modified bee that instead of creating honey, they create helium.
This is Dr. Sarah Exbom, one of the leading researchers at the Yorkshire Beekeepers Association and the woman in charge of the helium bee experiment. Until recently, the experiment she was in charge of progressed without a hitch, but a recent escape of several bees leaves the project in jeopardy, as their stings are proving to have a devastating effect on humans.
My name's John Glenson and I'm a victim of the helium bee.
And how has your life been since the helium bee sting?
no one will listen, no one ever listens. I mean, imagine walking around like a prepubescent teen, struggling to even get a word in edgeways without being ridiculed. Well, I can tell you this much, it's not hilarious. It's not hilarious for me, it's not hilarious for my family. I've got to deal with this.
And John is not alone in his situation. Several members of the public now squeak when attempting to vocalise, and there are now reports of one man's head inflated to the size of a pumpkin, floating off into the Earth's atmosphere.
Well, that's just slander from the Liberal left.
And what do you say in response to these comments about the bees being dangerous?
I cannot comment on the individual cases, but what I will say is that we do take very good care in our science laboratory to make sure that this would never happen.
And one last question for you, Doctor. Why did you choose bees to help you produce your helium?
I'm afraid I don't understand the question.
Well, that's unbelievable.
I'm so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It was for his own good, and be honest, it really did deserve it for a quote like that. We'll be back very soon with the tweets and reporters in when you sent in. But until then, could you stay tuned? And don't worry about him, we'll patch him up immediately. And now we'd like to take a more human view and come down to your level for just a moment. A terrible disease has been ravaging our local population, and there have been up to 5,000 infections as I speak. Me has this report. The disease has spread overnight like a pandemic. University students in the northern town of Huddersfield have been rapidly and non-fatally struck down by this newly discovered affliction. The World Health Organization has named this new illness cockfail, after the most commonly affected area. Jim Slade, a sports journalist from Huddersfield University and victim of cockfail, told us what it's like to live with this disease.
I first noticed the problem about 3 weeks ago. Basically what happened was I woke up and I couldn't feel a thing. It was completely numb.
And could you use it at all for anything throughout your experience with it?
No, it was completely immobilised. It was like it needed its own crutches.
But it seems all is not lost here in Huddersfield. Charities across the region have studied the effects of this disease from students of every course on campus and are arranging a debate en masse to hopefully find a cure.
I think this mass debate will be extremely helpful in helping me with my cockfail.
Just so I can confirm this with you, Jim, your cochlea is absolutely broken.
The doctor said it was grossly inflamed.
Most of the health and ear specialist charities around the area have pledged their full support already, with only one missing contender. Health Research UK have been restrained about their participation in the upcoming intercourse mass debate. We called their national helpline in order to get a statement on their involvement.
Hi, I'm Jade. I work for Health Research UK.
Hello, I'd like to confirm whether or not Health Research UK would like to be involved in the intercourse mass debate on cockfail. It's coming up in the near future in Huddersfield.
I'm sure myself and the rest of us here at Health Research UK will be interested in being involved in this intercourse mass debate for you.
That's fantastic.
Definitely get to the bottom of that for you.
So for the moment, it seems hopes are high for this mass debate to help the people living with cockfail. What is guaranteed is that people living with cockfail in Huddersfield will find a sense of peace, and with several charities rising to the occasion, it seems cockfail may one day be a thing of the past.
Since this story was reported, it's been confirmed that cockfail has spread to Leeds, York and Halifax. It has also been infecting Barnsley for some time, but nobody seemed to notice a difference.
Joining us for the discussion in this studio is Senior Group Assistant Howie Felterbum.
Good afternoon.
Five-a-day collector Richard Noggin.
Good afternoon.
Fairground decorator Alma Moop.
Good afternoon.
Al Capone, no relation.
Good afternoon.
Domestic technician Mona Lott.
Good afternoon.
Paperboy Andrew Andrewson.
Good afternoon.
Sanitation consultant April Showers.
Good afternoon.
And Alex Humphreys.
Good afternoon.
Good discussion. Moving on. I've been told by the lab boys that the audience is recording low on the music meter, so to take your mind off the recent story about cockfail, here's something completely unrelated to that. Stay tuned though, or we'll be disappointed in you. You're listening to Clarinet Martin. You're welcome. Now you might be asking yourself, Clarinet, just what kind of show are you running here? What are the details of this tribunal I keep hearing about? Are you technically in breach of a court order by continuing to broadcast this show? Well, let me answer those questions with a question. Who wants to make 50 quid? Cash. We're not talking Blue Peter badges here. On this show, nothing is counterfeit. And since it's his first time joining up with us, I've asked Clive to come up with a bit of a brain teaser for all of us to ponder. So, Clive, have you come up with a good one?
I certainly have, Clarinet. Now, I hope this one won't be too easy, but I think I've come up with a bit of a tickler this week.
That's absolutely marvellous. The microphone is yours, sir.
Has anyone ever really been far, even has decided to go even more look-like?
Can you say that again for us?
Of course. Has anyone ever really been as far, decided to go as everyone looked like?
That is the quiz question. Can you send your answers in to Clarinet Martin at madeitup.com? That's Clarinet Martin at madeitup.com. Answers on a postcard, please, and we will get back to you.
Couple of quick messages from around the local area. Here's one for a Dr. Hempstead, standing outside a physics lab at Huddersfield University. Please stop banging on the doors. We know you're locked out. We just don't like you.
And another one here from a Mrs. Hepton for a Barry Hepton currently being buried in Barnsley. Could you please go home immediately? You're perfectly all right. You're listening to Almost Live. Any more live and your face couldn't handle it. Time now for the economic news with Clive Freeloader.
Thank you, Clarinet. And in this week's business news, we're talking about numbers.
Whoa, stop. What are you doing?
I'm doing the business news.
This news ruins people's lives, you oik. Put your Radio 4 voice on.
Thanks, Clarinet. This is the business news, and here is the business news bell. The car company Ford has ditched its plans to build a processing plant on the moon. It comes after an evaluation proves that the £73 billion prototype moon base is, quote, totally bonkers, and that the employee commute to work every day would prove unprofitable. Ford still has planning permission, however, and they are considering building a smaller facility on a nearby asteroid. The Vietnamese ambassador to the UK, Pho Phum Quac, had a bit of trouble today as the British Embassy had accidentally lost their Vietnamese phrasebook. Out of British embarrassment, he is now crowned King of Huddersfield, and he's been given his own fiefdom. In addition, he was given a pork pie and a gift certificate. The euro has taken quite a beating from the American dollar this week, and hopefully that'll teach it not to mess with loan sharks. Your lucky numbers for today are 7, 348, winder shins, and the square root of pi. Back to you, Clarinet.
You're listening to Clarinet Martin Almost Live. I'd like to buy the world a news.
On to our next story, and we have an exclusive on a controversial wrestler who has recently set foot in the country, looking to hit the big time in the West. Clarinet has this report.
It's been what pundits have been calling the most one-sided fight since John Morrison's famous 1997 bout against a tub of lard. Already, peaceful protests are being held outside Wharfside Workout, where Big Chico, a rising star in Middle Eastern wrestling circles, looks to break into the European League by fighting a 4-year-old boy, Tommy Smith. The ruckus you can hear behind me was recorded last week when Big Chico arrived at this gym. I'm standing outside Wharfside West, where Big Chico has been smashing very small punching bags into little pieces in preparation for his big fight. However, when we caught up with him, he admitted he felt quietly optimistic about his upcoming match.
Just give me this, kid. I'm gonna take my shoes off and I'm gonna stick them down his neck, dog. 'Cause I ain't no little Chico. I just like to play with little kids and kick their ass.
But it wasn't Chico himself that set up the match against the home champion. Instead, this was the work of his new trainer, a local resident of West Yorkshire who was recently appointed after his original trainer burst into flames during a pre-match interview in Islamabad. We met up with his trainer to get some answers to the questions everyone has been asking.
Hello, my name's Terence, and I'm a trainer. I'm a boxing trainer. A wrestling trainer, sorry.
So, Terence, will you be able to answer the question on everybody's lips? Why arrange Big Chico's debut fight against a 4-year-old boy?
Well, it's got to start from somewhere, hasn't it? It's got to start from somewhere. He's not has the most experience in the world, but he's certainly one of the better in that league.
What are your qualifications to being a professional wrestling trainer?
I have an NVQ in construction, and through that I learnt everything you need for the wrestling ring.
I'm not sure what that has to do with the wrestling.
The qualification itself, no, but it's what you learn from it. It's what you take from it.
Whatever the outcome, there seems to be no doubt in anyone's mind that this match is going to be seen by everyone.
I don't really know what wrestling's like.
Well, think of it as a bit like ballet, except there's no choreography. There's no music, except from the beginning, and the dancers are trying to hit each other with chairs.
I once met Steve Coogan in a corridor.
I know you did. It's a very close resemblance to that, actually.
Big Chico there. Being incredibly scary.
He was incredibly scary, and particularly his trainer. He sounded vaguely familiar too.
I can't say I noticed.
Pity. We've received tweets and messages from you people throughout that story, and we have them right here.
Peter in Wolverhampton says, I would rather know on my own arm. They pander to the lowest common denominator. Everyone is equal, as long as you aspire to be the lowest.
Wise words there from Peter, disguised as idiocy. Another message comes here through saying, I hope that Big Chico will do really well, and I'd like to ask if his wife has found out about our affair. That's from Sarah Prang from Huddersfield, who wishes to remain anonymous.
And lastly, one from David Blob in Barnsley. I think that in the past the threat of a good hiding would have stopped this. Is political correctness gone mad, and we should ban them. I'm not sure what any of that has to do with what we're discussing, but thank you for commenting.
You're listening to Almost Live. There are no breaks on the news train.
Coming into the studio is a star of radio and writing. For almost 10 years, he has his own web presence, was a star on Real Radio, and has recently come under fire for some serious misgivings about one of his creations.
But enough of the boring summation. Let's get down to brass tacks. Join us in the studio is Mr. Elliot Davis.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here.
It sure is. Let's start by asking what got you into writing and composing.
You could call it writing and composing, I suppose, but it's much more of an off-the-cuff than pre-planned kind of thing, if you know what I mean.
I want to get your opinion on something here, Elliot, if I can. Why can't we touch clouds?
I can't say I've ever thought about it before.
Good answer, good answer.
As part of your career, we have to ask you about this musical you've written. Tell me about its seedy underbelly.
Musical? Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean there.
What are you hiding?
I'm not hiding anything.
I must press you on this, sir.
No, seriously, I have no idea what musical you're talking about.
The musical was by a member of Busted. Is he your favourite member of Busted?
Is he the one with the eyebrows?
You should know, Mr. Davis.
Sure, why not? I'm sorry, but I honestly don't have a clue what you're talking about. I've never written a musical.
You have, Elliot, and we have proof that you do. Clive, play the clip.
A vision in my head, if only they understood. We're doing things that no one ever even knew that we could. I'd be more welcome if they realized that I had a plan. 'Cause you're a genius, but they don't even know who I am. Open
Loserville, a new musical by James Bond and Elliot Davis.
We're really living in the future now.
Oh yeah, I have heard of this actually.
So you have heard of it after clearly denying that you haven't. Then, sir, I must ask you again for more information about the musical. Is it due to the several allegations of fraud?
I've heard the adverts on the radio, but I'm nowhere near involved with this.
So you've disowned the show?
I'm not even a fan of musical theatre.
Then why did you write one, sir?
I didn't!
If I may interject here with a question, is there something you would consider your greatest weakness?
Yeah. I say yes to interviews with mad people.
Good answer, really good answer.
I have you on record that you know of this musical. I have in front of me the poster for the musical, and it's right here that it has your name on it.
That name's spelt completely differently to mine.
What does the name say?
Elliot Davis, but...
And what is your name, please remind me?
Elliot, with 2 T's. It's a completely different guy.
Are you suggesting you're having an identity crisis?
I'm suggesting you haven't checked your facts, mate.
Just one last question from me. Can you describe yourself in 5 words?
Not the person you think.
Great stuff, yeah. Good answer.
There have been several reports of recordings of the show being leaked to YouTube. Our research has turned up that you have a YouTube account, don't you, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with any shady musicals. Have you even looked through these facts yourself, or have you just read them out? Do you even know what this guy looks like?
Sir, you are questioning my journalistic integrity, and you've been dancing around the very straightforward question of, are you involved in criminal allegations? And if so, can you tell the world about them?
Okay, I'm done.
Elliot Davis there, joins us in the studio, the writer of the musical...
Never written a musical.
The writer of the musical Loserville, along with former Busted member James Bourne.
Don't even know what you're talking about.
You're listening to Almost Live with Clarinet Martin and Clive Freeloader. Join us again after this musical interlude.
You're an idiot.
You're listening to Clarinet Martin Almost Live. Now, some people have called in about that last interview, saying that we haven't actually interviewed Elliot Davis, saying that this was a different man that just so happened to be called Elliot Davis. Now, I'd like to refute this claim, that while he may not have known what we were talking about, and his name had 2 T's in it instead of 1, he did have 12 of the 11 letters of Mr. Davis's name. So, fractionally speaking, he is more Elliot Davis than his physical counterpart. And now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. We've kept you in a bit of suspense, but we're actually going to get the answer to the quiz question. And we're just going to go to line 1. Hello, caller, you're on Almost Live. What's the answer to the question?
Help me, I'm trapped in the bloody building!
I'm sorry, that's not the right answer, unfortunately. We can't give you that one.
Oh, he seems like a nice guy. Should we give him another go?
We'll give him another go. I'll tell you what, we're just going to give you another go, caller. Could you just tell us what the answer is?
Number. Oh, God.
Sorry, caller, that's just not it. I'm going to have to let you go, unfortunately. Thank you for calling Almost Live. I will see you later. Oh, we hung up. But it's all right. Yeah. Since nobody's actually claimed the prize, could you actually give the right answer to the quiz question for today?
Yeah, sure. It's Ray Winston's face in blue tack.
Ray Winston's face in blue tack. Thank you, everybody who did call in and who gave a bit of a participation towards this quiz show. I know Clive worked very hard on it, and it was his stamp on Almost Live, and something we may keep up in the future.
Need to call my agent.
Everybody does here. Well, that's all the designated time we have on this show. I'd like to thank Clive for getting out of bed to be here.
I'd just like to thank Seven.
And I'd like to thank you, the listener, for opening your ears and letting the juice of facts flow through your cranium. And to sign us out, we'd like everyone to stand and salute our glorious new king, Fo Fum Quack, to the tune of his home country's national anthem. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay alive!
Đường vinh quang xây xa quân thù, thắng gian lao cùng nhau lập chiến thù, vì nhân dân chiến đấu không ngừng.